Students, in this video, I am going to discuss the how to solve Fredholm integral equation of the second kind with separable or degenerate kernel. So here kernel is separable. Separable means what? We can separate this kernel kxt in the summation form where each term is basically the product of separate function of x and separate function of t. Fine. So basically we are having this type of function. Kxt can be written as, for example, say xt. So this is a separate function of x, separate function of t, their product, plus some x square, say t cube, and so on. So we are having separate terms where in each term we are having two products. One is function of x only, another one is function of t only. So this is called the separable kernel. But suppose kxt is like sin xt, x plus t. This is not a separable kernel, because when you expand this, what you will get, and here you are not having finite terms. Here the number of terms is generally finite terms. Here we are having infinite terms, and when you expand this, what you will get? You will get x plus t plus x plus t cube divided by factorial 3 and so on. Infinite number of terms, and important thing is that here when you open this, we are having some terms which may or may not be, you cannot separate them, you are not able to separate them. Fine. So this is basically the example of a separable kernel. So here let's see here what we have. So here first we will consider about what is to find out the solution. Here first we will recall about the eigenvalues and eigenfunctions. What is an eigenvalue and eigenfunction for a given integral equation? So consider a homogeneous Fredholm integral equation of the second kind. So this is the equation. Fredholm because this is constant limit. Homogeneous because there is no term here, f of x type term here. So that is 0 here, is that's why homogeneous. Fredholm. And second kind. This is a second kind equation. We have already discussed about the first kind and second kind. So this is second kind equation. Fine. So this is the equation. Now you can see that when you put yx is equal to 0, then this will become 0 and here becomes 0. So ultimately 0 is equal to 0. So this will satisfy the condition, this equation number 1 trivially. So that's why yx equal to 0 is always a solution of equation number 1. And this is known as trivial or zero solution. But here our interest is not in trivial solution. Our interest is in non-trivial solutions. Non-trivial solution. Fine. So now the values of the parameter lambda, this, say lambda naught, for which equation number 1 has non-zero solution. Here is the zero solution, here is the non-zero solution. That means yx is not equals to 0 are known as the eigenvalues. So the values of lambda for which we are having non-zero solution is known as eigenvalues of 1, and the corresponding solution, say phi x, where obviously phi x is non-zero, because yx is equal to 0 is all a trivial solution. Our interest is in non-zero solution. So obviously non-zero solution is known as eigenfunction of 1. So solution, non-zero solution is known as eigenfunction, and for which that solution occurs is known as eigenvalue. I think you understand. And so if phi x is the solution, lambda naught is the eigenvalue of 1, then equation number 1 can be written as this. Phi x is equals to lambda naught a to b kxt phi t dt. So just replace yt by phi t, yx by phi x, lambda by lambda naught. So this lambda naught is nothing but the eigenvalue, and this will be the eigenfunction. So I think you understand. Fine. Now we have a note point. If the kernel kxt is continuous in the rectangle R, which is defined by this x from a to b, t from a to b. So this is a rectangle. Here if you will construct this, so here is basically say x-axis, here is say t-axis. So a to b, a to b. So this is actually a rectangle. A to b, a rectangle. Then to every value of lambda, there exists a finite number of linearly independent eigenfunctions. So if we are taking this rectangle, then for every value of lambda, we are having linearly independent eigenfunctions. Fine. So this is eigenvalue and eigenvector. Now we will use this eigenvalue and eigenvector to find out the solution of homogeneous Fredholm integral equation of the second kind with separable or degenerate kernel. So how to find out that? So this is the procedure. So here initially we have equation number 1, this homogeneous Fredholm integral equation, where kernel is of this kind. Kernel is separable kernel. So separable means kxt is equals to summation of fix and git. Function of x only, function of t only, where I varies from 1 to n, because we are having finite number of terms. So this is this kxt is separable kernel. So we are having this separable kernel. So this is of this form, equation number 2. Now we will put this kx2 in equation number 1. So what we will get? We will get this. In place of k, we are having this. Now interchange this summation and integral, we have this term. Fine. So now lambda summation of fix, integral a to b, and then git yt dt. So this is all the terms in the form of t, and here the finite limit. So obviously after solving this, we get a constant, because limits are constant and we are having only functions in the form of t. We are integrating with respect to t. So suppose this constant is denoted by ci. This value is denoted by ci. What is ci? Ci is a to b git yt dt. This is denoted by equation number 3. And our interest is to find out the ci. Because once ci is known, then when you substitute it here, fi is already a known function. So ultimately this product is a known value, and hence yx will be the known solution. Fine. So now equation number, this solution is yx is equal to lambda summation fix and ci. So now our interest is in ci's. So now to determine c1, c2, cn, multiply equation number 4 successively. That means by one, by g1x, g2x and gnx. And then integrating with respect to x over the interval ab. So first we will multiply this equation by g1x, then take the integral over the limit ab. So what we will get? We will get this equation. So here multiply by g1x, so g1x yx, then integral a to b yx dx is equal to here lambda, then summation, then constant, and then integral this function multiply by g1x. So g1x fix dx. This is equation number 5 1. Similarly, second time multiply by g2x. So we will get this equation denoted by 5 2. Again multiply by g3x, we will get the third equation, and hence last gnx. So multiply by gnx here, take the limit a to b and then integrate. So this is the nth equation, 5n. So these are total n number of equations. Now you will see here is g1x fix, here is g2x fix, here is gnx fix. So we are representing this type of integral by the constant, because ultimately after solving this we get a new constant, because here is a function of x, here is a function of x, and we are integrating with respect to x, and we are taking over the limit constant limit. So ultimately we get a constant. So this constant is denoted by alpha ji, where this is equal to a to b gjx fix. For example, when j is 1, then we are having this. When j is 2, we will get second integral. When j is n, we will get nth integral. Fine. So this is so where I and j is equal to 1 to n. This is equation number 6. So now from 3, this equation is third, this is fourth. So equation number 3, equation number 6, that means this, and equation number 5 1. What we will get? We will get, so from third, what is third here? Third equation, because we are using 5 1, and 5 1 means g1, and g1 means here 1. So we are basically finding c1. So c1 is equals to lambda summation of, from here, what is c1? c1 is here integral of this. Put I is equal to 1 here. So what we get? c1 is equals to integral a to b g1 t yt dt from equation number 3. But from equation number 4, sorry, but from this equation number 5 1, this expression is equal to this. So what we will get? Lambda summation I from 1 to n, here is I, ci, this integral. What is this integral? A to b g1x fix dx. But this integral according to this is what? According to this, j is here 1. So this will be lambda integral I from 1 to n ci alpha, here is j is 1 here. So j is 1 here, alpha 1i. This is written here. So I think you understand. C1 is equal to this summation, this expression. Now expand, just open this, put I equal to 1, I equal to 2, I equal to 3, I equal to n, so we get this expression. So here is C1, here is C1. So when you adjust these two, so what we will get? 1, just take this term in the left hand side. So we get 1 minus lambda alpha 1 1, lambda alpha 1 1 into c1. So c1 is common, so that's why written here, minus lambda alpha 1 2 c2 and so on. Finally minus lambda cn alpha 1n is equals to 0, because each term is taken in the left hand side, so here will be 0. So this is equation number 7 1. Similarly, when you are finding c2 here, put I is equal to 2 here, then we will utilize 5 2 equation and this one. So ultimately what we will get? We will get this equation. Doing the same procedure, we will get this equation. Here we are getting this type of constant corresponding to C1. Here we will get this type of constant with respect to C2 and so on. Similarly, put I is equal to n here, then we will use the nth equation and this. So what we will get? We will get this equation 7n. Now we will represent these n equations, because our interest is to find out c1 c2 cn. So the determinant d lambda, because all these equations depends upon lambda, that's why d lambda of this system of equations. And you will see that these are homogeneous equations, linear equations. They are homogeneous because 0 0 0. So they are homogeneous equations. Fine. So these are homogeneous equations. So their determinant is shown here. First equation. This is from first equation. 1 minus lambda alpha 1 1. So this equation is basically what? You will see 1 minus lambda alpha 1 1 C1 minus lambda alpha 1 2 C2 and so on is equals to 0. Then second equation is this. minus lambda alpha 21 C1 plus 1 minus lambda alpha 22 C2 and so on is equal to 0. And last equation is this. So minus lambda alpha n1 C1 sorry, minus lambda alpha n2 C2 is equals to 0. Find last equation. So this is homogeneous linear system of homogeneous linear equations. Now what is our interest? Our interest is in the solution. So whenever we are having Ax is equal to 0 type of equation, so this is Ax equal to 0 type of solution where x is nothing but C1 C2 Cn and A is what? So this can be written as this matrix 1 minus lambda C alpha 1 1 minus lambda alpha 1 2 and so on. Second row will be from here minus lambda alpha 2 1 फिर 1 minus lambda alpha 2 2 and so on, and hence this matrix multiply by C1 C2 Cn is equals to 0 0 0. This is system is in matrix form is this. This is your A, this is your X, this is your 0. So now this is basically denoted by d lambda because depends upon lambda. So this is the d lambda. Fine. So A, this matrix is d lambda. Sorry, the determinant d lambda is basically what? Determinant of A. D lambda is equal to determinant of A. So this is shown here. And now we know that this is Ax is equal to 0. So for non-zero solution, because 0 is always be the solution of this type of equation, for non-zero solution, because what is our interest? To find out the eigenvalues and eigenfunction. An eigenvalue means what? Non-zero solution. So here d lambda should be non-zero. Sorry, d lambda will be 0 for non-zero solution, because in that case what will be its rank will be n minus 1 and having infinitely many solutions in that case. But if this is non-zero quantity, its rank will be exactly n, and in that case we are having only trivial solution. So our interest is non-zero solution, that means infinitely many solution, which is only possible when d lambda is 0. That means rank of A is less than n. This is only possible. Fine. So that's why when d lambda is non-zero, having a trivial solution, trivial means C1 C2 Cn is 0 and ultimately Yx is 0, and this is not our interest. Our interest is in non-zero solution. So that's why d lambda should be 0. That means at least one of the Ci's can be assigned an arbitrary value and then remaining Ci's can be determined accordingly, and thus fourth give infinitely many solutions. Thus values of lambda for which d lambda is equal to 0 are called the eigenvalues, and any non-trivial solution of 1 is called corresponding eigenfunction. So this is the procedure. I think you understand now. Let's see how to apply this. So we have taken this equation. So this is homogeneous because there is no f of x here. So this is Yx is equal to lambda. This is the kernel kxt. You can see that this is a separable. This is a separable function of this. This is separate function of this. Minus 4x square. There is no t term. So t function is basically 1. X square into 1. So function of y is basically a constant function. So this is yt dt. Now to solve this equation, basically what we will do, we will separate terms. So first term is this, second term is this. So that's why 2x lambda integral 0 to 1 t yt dt minus 4x square lambda 0 to 1 yt dt. We call this type of integral where we have only t t terms. We are having terms having t as a variable. This is denoted by say c1. This integral is denoted by c2. तो हम इनको सेपरेट कर लेंगे. Fine. We will take the terms having x outside, and in this integral we are involving only the functions of t only, and we will call it as constants. This is a constant because this is t, this is yt, and we are integrating with respect to dt over the finite limit. So ultimately we will get a constant. This is denoted by c1. Similarly here c2, and so on. If we are having n number of terms, so we will get c1, c2, cn. Finally, after putting this c1, c2, cn, what is our solution? Yx will be 2 lambda c1x minus 4 lambda cx square. So if you replace x by t, so you will get yt is equal to 2 lambda c1 minus 4 lambda c2 t square. Fine. So this is denoted by as a fourth equation. But what is our c1? c1 is this. c1 is integral 0 to 1 t yt dt. So we will take this c1. c1, put this yt which is here. So put this value, simplify the calculation, we get this. And then here is c1, here is c1. So just adjust, so we will get this equation. This is a homogeneous equation which is of this form. 0. This is fifth equation. Now we will take c2. c2 is basically 0 to 1 yt dt. But yt is what? This. So put it there. Again simplify. Again adjust c2. So we get this equation c2. So we get two equations with two unknowns c1 and c2. Finally, so to get now the determinant is given by d lambda is here. The coefficient of c1 is this. So written here. Coefficient of c2 is lambda, written here. Then from second equation, coefficient of c1 is lambda, coefficient of c2 is this, written here. So this is d lambda. Now for non-zero solution, d lambda will be 0. Simplify this, we get this equation, and this is lambda equal to minus 3. That means repeated eigenvalues. Eigenvalues are repeated. Fine. So now eigenvalues are evaluated. Now find out the eigenfunction. So put lambda 1 is equal to lambda 2 equal to minus 3 in equation number 5 and 6 in these equations, herein and herein. Put these values. Lambda is equal to minus 3 here. So we get these equations. Solve these two equations, so we get c1 is equal to c2. Fine. So now equation number 4 implies yx is equal to 2 lambda c1x minus 4 lambda c1x square. Put c1 is equal to c2 here. So we get this equation. Now because for particular value of c1 we get one solution. So here since yx depends upon the c, so we are getting infinitely many solutions. Among those infinitely many, we will take only one solution. So let's see, this minus 6 c1 is nothing but 1. Unity. So what we will get? We will get x minus 2x square. So this is nothing but our 5x. So this is one of the solution. So corresponding to lambda equal to minus 3, we can say that this is the eigenfunction. Fine. And there are infinitely many eigenfunctions. Because minus 6 c1 may be 2, maybe 3, maybe 4, maybe 5 and so on. Here we have assumed only 1. Fine. So that's why we are having infinitely, and we have quoted only one solution. Fine. So this is the procedure. Similarly here, this is the second example. This is the kernel. We have written here, separate this kernel, we get this equation. So first we are getting, open this, so we get this. So here is lambda sin x. Here is we have taken some mistake here. So this will be, I think, sin some x plus t. This may be, say, sine square. Maybe sine square. Sine square, yes. We can take sine square. Then this will not be the infinitely many. This is not the example. Fine. So this is the example. Sine square x plus t. Fine. So here is this. So this is a separable kernel. So we can separate this. So lambda sin x 0 to 2 pi cos t yt dt plus lambda integral 0 lambda then there is cos x and then 0 to 2 pi sin t yt dt. So separate कर दिया जैसे पहले किया था. So we have assumed that this is a new constant c1, this is another new constant c2. So we get this equation. So now we will put this yx here. So because where c1 is what, this integral, what is c2? C2 is this integral. Now we will consider equation number 2. So c1 is equal to this 0 to 2 pi cos t then yt, but yt is according to this will be lambda c1 sin t plus lambda c2 cos t. So written here, simplified the calculation, and after calculation what we will get? We will get this equation after this. Similarly we will take c2 is 0 to 2 pi sin t yt dt, but yt is what, this. So replace this value, again simplify the calculation, we get this equation. So we get two homogeneous equations. What will be the determinant? Determinant will be the coefficient of c1 is here 1, so written here. Coefficient of c2 is here minus lambda pi, written here. Coefficient of c1 in second equation is lambda pi here, and coefficient of c2 is minus 1, written here. Now for the non-zero solution, d lambda is 0, so we are getting this. So after solving this we get this, lambda is equal to plus minus 1 by pi. So one root is 1 by pi, another one is minus 1 by pi. So they are different. So they are different roots. However, in previous example we are having repeated roots. They are repeated, same roots. Here we are having different roots. So problem is different. Fine. So now here we will take say first root lambda equal to lambda 1 by pi, and again substituted these two values in these two equations. One is here and here, यहाँ पे put किया और यहाँ पे भी put किया. So what we will get? We will get these two equations. C1 minus C2 is 0. From fifth we are getting this. Both are same equations. So C1 is equal to C2. And now substituted these values in equation number 1. In equation number 1 here we have put it these values here. C1 is equal to C2. So what we will get? We will get this. We will get this. Put C1 equal to C2. So we get this equation. And now just like in previous case, assume this C1 by pi is 1, unity. So we get phi 1x is sin x plus cos x. हमेशा इसको जो भी constant आएगा उसको unity मान लेंगे, and we will quote the remaining solution as the eigen function. So for this 1 by pi, lambda equal to 1 by pi eigenvalue, this is the eigen function. Fine. Similarly, we will take the second solution lambda equal to lambda 2 equal to minus 1 by pi. Then again putting in 4 and 5 we are getting this equation. Again here is C1 equal to minus C2. Then equation number 1 gives this equation, and again assume this as minus C1 by pi as 1. So this is the second solution. So this is second eigenvalue and this is the second eigenfunction. Fine. So this is the procedure. Fine. So now this is the special case. Show that the homogeneous integral equation this has no eigenvalue and eigenfunction. Fine. So this is the equation. So now here just take this x term outside. So what we will get? Lambda 3x minus 2 integral 0 to 1 t yt. We have only one integral. So let us assume that this is c. So put this value as c. So lambda c 3x minus 2, where c is nothing but 0 to 1 t yt. So now equation number 1, from 1 we can take yt as lambda c 3t minus 2. So replaced here. So solve this equation. What we will get ultimately? C is equal to 0. So C is equal to 0 when you put here. So ultimately you will get yx is equal to 0. But we know that y equal to 0 is a trivial solution, and generally we will not consider this as a eigenfunction. So that's why there is no eigenvalue and no eigenfunction. Fine. So this problem has no eigenvalue and no eigenfunction. Fine. So this is all about the homogeneous integral equation. Now in the next video we will consider the Sturm-Liouville problem. Fine. So thank you.